welcome to the debut episode of the Motor City Pickoff, where we talk about everything Detroit Tigers. Alongside Jason Ross Jr., I'm Genna Rose. We're here at Comerica Park to preview Game 2 of a three-game set against the Chicago Cubs. So to kick off the show, we're going to recap last night's 4-2 loss against Chicago. We're going to preview starting pitching, as well as bring on a special guest, the voice of Tigers Radio, Dan Dickerson. And of course, to end the show, we're going to look into the bright future of the Tigers organization.
Yeah, well, geez, so much to come on the debut episode of the Pickoff. You mentioned Dan. He's been such a wonderful mentor for both of us over the past couple of years, so we cannot wait to share his favorite past memories of Tigers baseball with you, in addition to, as Jen mentioned, kicking off today with today's starting pitching matchup.
Two righties get the nod here at Comerica Park. For the Cubs, it'll be Trevor Williams, and on the Tigers side of things, Jose Urena, who's looking to bounce back since his last start against the Twins.
Yeah, well, gee, that was one of his shorter starts of the season so far. Went just 4 1/3 against Minnesota because the Twins had 9 hits off him during that time period, which marked a season high allowed for Urena. Now, allowed 2 earned runs, but really wasn't a start that resembles what has been really a resurgence so far in 2021 for the right-hander, who is bouncing back from an injury-riddled 2020 campaign with Miami. Now, when you examine his last 4 starts overall, 3 of them, have gone into at least the 7th inning. All 3 of those qualified as quality starts as well. The resurgence has been fueled by his sinker-slider combination. Every once in a while, he'll raise the eye level and go up in the zone with a 4-seam fastball. But it has been that sinker-slider combination that has been his forte. Naturally, most of the hard contact will stay down and on the ground because of that. And speaking of hard contact, throughout the course of 40 innings pitched this year, the 29-year-old has only allowed 2 home runs. So been one of the best in the business when it comes to limiting the long ball, and hopefully he can continue to do that against the very potent Cubs lineup. And Trevor Williams on the flip side trying to bounce back as well.
Well, Williams has a wide variety of pitches that he utilizes in his 4-seamer, slider, sinker, changeup, and curveball. What's going to be a major advantage for the Tigers, Jason, is that they were able to face Jake Arrieta on Friday night, because both Arrieta and Williams, their 4-seamer has heavy sinking action, so they can anticipate the pitchers trying to induce ground balls. Now, when we look at Williams, he has the highest strikeout rate percentage of his career at 24%. Over 60% of the time he's utilizing his fastball. But, Jason, when we look at that, it's not necessarily as effective as it's been in years past. Opposing batters are currently hitting 304 off of his heater. So, for the Tigers to have plate discipline is going to certainly be key, given that Williams' put-away pitch is typically a slider, and also given the fact the Tigers are just riding into these games. When we look at the past 4 games heading into this series, they've drawn over 5 walks per game. So that eye at the plate and being able to keep an eye out on Williams' command is going to be very key for the Tigers.
Yeah, the quality at bats, the good 2-strike approach, something that A.J. Hinch has preached all year long, and you noted that, Jen, there. So could be a fun pitching matchup. Williams and Urena set to match up against one another as the Tigers and Cubs go head-to-head on this Saturday afternoon. Tigers' number 2 overall prospect, Riley Greene, is beginning the season in Double A-Erie, and we know the offensive skill set is there, Jen. Collected a 3-hit game earlier this week. However, it is the defensive prowess, the athleticism in center field that's so fun to watch. Typically has us watching his highlights on loop over and over again. And here's one from just last night.
Well, Greene almost has this sixth sense, this ability to read the ball off the bat quite sharply. We see him take that turn and catch the ball over the shoulder. And sometimes, Jason, when we're looking at younger outfielders, a typical mistake that they'll make is not keeping the glove tucked in. But Greene is able to do so to get that speed and make the catch over the shoulder. He has a strong spatial awareness of where the warning track is and the wall. So for him to be able to sprint confidently to the spot and make the grab, make a quick turnaround throw, he almost has this veteran presence in the outfield, which is certainly going to be crucial as he moves up through the organization.
Gosh, gee, that awareness that you described, it's so incredible to think about. And, you know, as Tigers fans, we love to look ahead to the future. Riley Greene certainly will be a part of that here at Comerica Park, but we also love to harken back to the past. And as we mentioned in the open, I had the pleasure of chatting with Tigers radio play-by-play announcer Dan Dickerson about some of his favorite memories of Detroit baseball. Here is that conversation. And Dan, my final question for you, kind of looking ahead to the future and looking back at the past, Tigers fans love to think about how bright the future could be. You and I just talked about the Whitecaps getting their home opener underway today, Spencer Torkelson playing there, but they also love to harken back to the past and think of some of the better moments in Tigers history. For you, as the Tigers radio play-by-play announcer throughout your career, thinking back, is there any moment that stands out to you that if you could go back to today and relive, what would that be?
Oh, my God. One?
Yeah, just one. Just one.
Some of them, of course, you go to the postseason immediately, and I think everybody would probably think of the Maglio moment, and believe me, that was amazing. But there were some games on the road. The Tigers won 3 Game 5s on the road in 3 consecutive years, twice in Oakland, once in New York. Those were amazing games, and I think of that Justin Verlander game in Oakland, where he went 9 to close it out, Game 5 being the deciding game, best of 5 series. Those are incredible moments because those crowds in Oakland were electric. They took the tarps off in the upper deck. They always have the upper deck closed because, nobody ever goes up there. They took the tarps off. It was 45,000. It was loud. Those were fun games. So there's probably a few other playoff games. I mean, again, that Maglio walk-off, just the joy around this ballpark that just the party seemed to go on into the wee hours of the morning. That's a night I'll never forget. But those post-game or those Game 5s on the road were always impressive to me. Very cool moments.
Very fond memories. Thank you, Dan, again for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Good luck.
Absolutely. Anytime, you guys.
Well, the Cubs have had their share of hot and cold spells so far this season, but we know when they are hot, they can be really hot. It's a deep, potent lineup, and last night I think we saw what they can do when they capitalize with runners in scoring position.
Yes, 7 different batters recorded hits on the night, and somebody who's been consistent all season has been third baseman Chris Bryant. Last night he had a 2-run home run. Another player who has provided plenty offensively is Javier Baez, who recorded his 18th RBI in the last 19 games. The Cubs offense has had some impressive spurts in 2021, specifically from April 17th to May 8th. The North Siders led the majors in runs scored, runs per game, OPS, and OBP. They'll strike out quite a bit, but also walk a lot, ranking top 10 in both walks and strikeouts this season. Now, Jason, on the Tigers side of things, someone who has consistently contributed to the offensive production has been outfielder Robbie Grossman, especially during Friday night's game.
Yeah, even in the midst of a relatively quiet offensive night for the Tigers, at least lately, Grossman had one of 2 solo home runs that we saw from Detroit last night. Jake Rogers had the other, his first homer of the season. But on the side of Grossman, Jen, he's really played up to the narrative that we felt would be tied to him entering the season as the Tigers' leadoff hitter. Thus far, he has 26 walks, which ranks 5th in Major League Baseball entering today. So, again, that's one of the reasons you want him at that leadoff spot, is because he is going to consistently produce good at-bats. And recently, Grossman talked about the need for consistency and how important that is, saying that you can see the more good at-bats you put together, the better chance we have of scoring runs, and the more runs we will score. So we noted that's what the Tigers did throughout the course of their 4-game winning streak that was snapped last night. But if they can rediscover that, the mentality of plate discipline will certainly be key.
Yes, you can catch the game at 4:10 p.m. on Valley Sports Detroit. Pleasure to have you guys joining us for the first ever episode of the Motor City Pickoff. Alongside Jason Ross Jr., I'm Genna Rose, and we'll see you guys next time.